Let's now see a very important topic for an exam point of view, that is Wheatstone's bridge. It's very important 5 mark or a 3 mark question. Such a very important topic also. Now this Wheatstone's bridge, the application of this Wheatstone's bridge is Kirchhoff's law. We have two laws, Kirchhoff's law. One is current law and voltage law. So KCR, that is Kirchhoff's current rule and Kirchhoff's voltage rule. Based on these two only, we are going to understand Wheatstone's bridge. And what for this bridge is used? It is used to compare resistances and to determine the unknown resistances. That's what we are using. Now I am going to draw the diagram. Just see how am I starting and drawing the diagram. Now this bridge actually, it consists of a battery that is connected between 2 points A and C. So we have this battery that is connected between 2 points A and C, and let the voltage or the EMF, whatever we say, EMF of the battery be equal to psi. Alright, so this point is A and this point is C. Now between these 2 points we are going to have 4 resistances. 4 resistances as P, Q, R and S. So see, this is P, next is Q, R and S. So we have 4 resistances like this, P, Q, R and S. Okay. So here again, naming of the resistor is very important. Naming is, this has to be taken as P, this is Q, this is R and this is S. If you take it as P, Q, R and S, then the entire derivation goes wrong. So be very careful. And between, so let us name this point as B and this point as D. Between B and D we have a galvanometer. You all know what is a galvanometer. It's an instrument used to detect whether the current is flowing, and also you can use it to measure the current, small amount of electric currents, mainly to detect whether current is flowing or not. Okay, so Wheatstone's bridge consists of a cell connected between, a battery connected between A and C, whose EMF is psi, and 4 resistances P, Q, R and S are connected in the diagram, as given in the diagram. Between the points B and D, a galvanometer is connected. Now when you switch on this battery, what happens? A current I flows through this circuit, right? Watch this clearly. A current I flows through this. So this is current I. Now what happens when this current reaches this A, the junction? It has 2 points to move about. 2 directions to move about. So it goes like this. It gets splitted as I1 and I2 here. I1 across P and I2 across R. Now this I1, on reaching the point B, again it has 2 ways. One is I3 across Q and I small g across galvanometer. Galvanometer, capital G, represents the resistance of the galvanometer also, right? Next, this I3, this Ig and I2 combine together and give rise to I4, which flows in this direction from D to C. So this is I4. Now I3 and I4 combine together at the point C, and the current comes out as I again. Right? Hope you understood. Starting from here, the total current I at A splits into I1 and I2. At B it splits into I3 and Ig. At D, these two join together and give rise to I4, and at C, these two join together and give rise to again I. Right? Now, step by step the derivation starts. So first we are using Kirchhoff's current rule. So by Kirchhoff's current rule, we are going to apply current rule at B and at D. So at B, if you apply current rule, what happens? Current flowing towards a junction the sum of the current flowing towards the junction is equal to the sum of the current flowing away from the junction. Or you can say, I can also write it as I1. That is I1 flowing towards B. What about Ig flowing away from G? So I can write it as minus Ig using the sign convention, right? Next, I3 is also flowing away from G. So it is minus I3. All this sum up to 0. The sum of algebraic sum of the currents at any junction is equal to 0. This is at B. Same way at D. At junction D, what happens here? I2 is flowing towards D. Ig is flowing towards D. And I4 is flowing away from D. Therefore, I2 plus Ig, because both are flowing towards D, and minus I4 is equal to 0. So these two are according to Kirchhoff's current rule. Now, by Kirchhoff's voltage rule. Voltage rule means we have to consider the loops, right? Let us name these equations as equation 1 and this as equation 2. Now, by Kirchhoff's voltage rule, we are going to apply voltage rule for two loops. For the loop A, B, D, A. Let us see where it is. A, B, D, A. Okay. Now let's try to write the use the rule and write the equation. Starting from here. Product of current and resistance. So it is I1 into P. It's flowing in this direction. Plus Ig into G. Same direction followed. But what happened here? Here I2 is flowing in the opposite direction. So that is minus I2 into R. So let me write here. I1 into P plus Ig into G minus I2 into R is equal to, what's the total EMF included in this circuit? There is no EMF included within this loop. Therefore, this is equal to 0. Let this be equation number 3. Now, another loop, A, B, C, D, A. A, B, C, D, A. In this loop, where is this loop? The entire loop, A, B, C, D, A. Starting from here, I1P, I1P plus I3Q minus I4S, because we are moving in this direction, that's clockwise, but here the current is flowing in the anti-clockwise. So minus I4S minus I2R is equal to 0. So plus I3Q minus I4S minus I2R is equal to 0. Why 0? Within this circuit, within this loop, excluding this only we are finding, right? So excluding this, in this loop, within this loop there is no EMF, no cell connected, therefore it is equal to 0. Let this be equation number 4. Now, one important point we are going to write. If points or junctions B and D are at same potential. This is a very important point which carries mark in your public exam. These two are at same potential. We know only when there is a potential difference, current can flow. Suppose if B and D are at same potential, current will be 0. So Ig will be equal to 0. That's what we are going to write. Ig is equal to 0. Now, this Ig equal to 0, we are going to substitute in the equations, above given equations. Substitute Ig equal to 0 in 1, you get I1 minus I3 equal to 0, or we get I1 is equal to I3. Okay. Substitute in equation 2, I2 minus I4 is equal to 0, or we get I2 is equal to I4. Right? Substitute in equation 3, I1P minus I2R is equal to 0, or I1P is equal to I2R. Right? So we get these three equations. Substitute all these three equations in equation 4. Right? Substituting all these three equations in equation 4. What will you get? We get I1P, let me write it as such, I1P plus I3Q. Instead of I3, I can write as I1. So I am writing it as I1Q minus I4S. Instead of I4, I can write I2. So minus I2S minus I2R. Minus I2R is equal to 0. Now simplifying this, taking I1 common out, it is P plus Q minus I2 common out, it is S plus R is equal to 0, or I can write I1 into P plus Q is equal to I2 into R plus S. Correct? Okay. Now let this be equation number 5. This be equation number 6. Divide 6 and 7. So this implies I1 into P plus Q by I1P. That's equal to I2 into R plus S divided by I2R. So I2 get cancelled, I1 will get cancelled. This P by P will be equal to 1, Q by P. That's equal to R by R is equal to 1 plus S by R. So I can write it as 1 plus Q by P. That's equal to 1 plus S by R. Again 1 and 1 get cancelled. So Q by P is equal to S by R. Or you can, taking the reciprocal, we get P by Q is equal to R by S. This is the bridge balance condition. This is the bridge balance condition. Now looking on to the diagram once again, that is P by Q. When you divide P and Q, that is upper half of the resistors, and that should be equal to the division of these two resistors in the bottom. So P by Q is equal to R by S. Again I am telling, it's a very important 5-mark question.